Okay, so did you guys see? So, Seren, this video is for you. It looks like San Francisco is actually giving reparations to the black people there. It's like $5 million in a dollar house or some shit like that, which is, I mean, wow, that's incredible. Like, it's about time. Yara Shahidi are becoming Disney characters. Okay, yeah, that's true. So I already made a video about this 2 years ago. So Yara Shahidi is Tinkerbell. If you didn't know, sorry. Let's okay. Let's give a second for the white girl tears. Okay, yeah, yes. Well, Yara Shahidi is Tinkerbell, and Halle Bailey is Ariel, and that's happening, and it's unfortunate. I don't like it either. I don't know. They should have just made new characters. I agree. To whoever actually said that, said they shouldn't be the characters. I agree. I don't know. They should let little white girls have their things. Ariel was a character created for Karen daughters to be white, and that's what it should be. I completely agree with that. Oh, damn. I'm sorry. They made Angelina Jolie look like a super villain. Oh my god. I don't know what that is, but she looks like so evil. Wow. She must have started drinking blood again. It says she refused to work with Daniel Craig because she wanted to be Bond herself. I'm sure she did. Oh my god. This is like, ooh, maybe Angelina will be entering her super villain era, which I am so here for. Angelina Jolie was the best when she was like trotting the red carpet, like drinking blood. That's when she was the best. I'm sorry. Everybody else can have their feelings, but she was so good. It was, I'd never seen anything better. Like, she's the best Wiccan we've ever seen in life. Like, she's so good. She made Vampire Diaries real, okay? There are real vampires, and she is one. And everybody from the developing world who claims to be Muslim, they're all like looking up to an actual vampire, and they don't even know. Oof. Like, she's, oh, okay, so there's another. Wait, I just read this and I bookmarked it and now I can't find it. Um, if I go, I don't know how to find my. Um, okay, wait. Search tabs, collections, rep. Okay, there we go. Okay, so this is from ABC and it was like yesterday. San Francisco board opens open to reparations with $5 million payouts. San Francisco supervisors have expressed support for an ambitious reparations plan that would include $5 million lump sum payments for each eligible black person, among other measures. Okay, so payouts of $5 million to every eligible black adult, the elimination of personal debt and tax burdens, guaranteed annual incomes of at least $97,000 for 250 years, and homes in San Francisco for just $1 a family. I mean, that's a pretty good package. That's a good start. But slavery was awful, okay? And like the Karens from the slave masters at Princeton have entire departments. So unfortunately, one home and $100,000 is not going to make up for that. These were some of the more than 100 recommendations made by a city appointed reparations committee tasked with the thorny question of how to atone for centuries of slavery and systemic racism. That's true. And the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, hearing the report for the first time on Tuesday, voiced enthusiastic support for the ideas listed, with some saying money should not stop the city from doing the right thing. That's true. Several supervisors said they were surprised to hear pushback from the politically liberal San Franciscans, apparently unaware that the legacy of slavery and racist policies continues to keep black Americans on the bottom rungs of health, education, economic prosperity, and overrepresented in prisons and homeless populations. That's true. Those of my constituents who lost their minds about this proposal. It's not something we're doing or would do for other people. Fuck the other people. What? It's something we should do for our future, for everybody's collective future. To anybody who plans to stay in America, you should definitely fight for this if you're black. if you're not black, you should not be on the opposing side of history because y'all have already done a lot of harm and everybody hates you. So if I were white, I would just shut the fuck up about this issue altogether and mind your own business because honestly, like, so much harm has been done. Like, so much harm. And I can't describe the everybody already hates you. So just shut the fuck up and move on. Go listen to a Taylor Swift album and pretend you didn't hear this article. Pro tip, that's what I would do. Um, okay, and Supervisor Raphael Mandelaman blah blah, whose district includes the heavily LGBT blah 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 Castro neighborhood. The draft reparations plan released in December is unmatched nationwide in its specificity and breadth. The committee has done an analysis of the cost of the proposals, but critics have slammed the plan as financially and politically impossible. That's true. It's damn near impossible. Like, they don't have the money. I don't know where they would get the money from, but it actually doesn't matter because, like, the black people don't need the money. They need the goods and services that they can buy with the money. So, like, what the black people should get is, like, free education from zero to death. Like, you should definitely have, like, free university. You should just have a voucher. Like, wherever you go, the government's going to pay. Because it's not real, especially if you're going to a state school. It's state money anyway that's just cycled through. Like, you should be going for free. Housing, they have the houses where they could give the black people the houses. And then especially they should be getting like Whole Foods gift cards, right? Like, just give black people some card that's like, I don't know, so they can just watch the transactions or something. Like, just be serious. Like, how are black people paying for education, food, and housing? That's the shit and healthcare. Like, that should be free for black Americans, not continental Africans who literally came here with their own money and like are just Americans. Like, if you're a descendant of slave and you're still paying for shit that slavery paid for, it's like that doesn't actually make any sense. You see what I'm saying? The draft reparations plan released in December is unmatched nationwide. Okay, I already read that. The committee hasn't done an analysis of the cost proposals, but critics have slammed the plan as financially and politically impossible. An estimate from Stanford University's Hoover Institution, which leans conservative, said it will cost each non-black family in the city at least $600,000. That's true, but like they're going to have to like. Unfortunately, white people who had nothing to do with slavery are going to have to pay for reparations for black people, and that's just a fact because the tax money has to come from somewhere, and it's coming from them. In the same way that like everybody benefited from cotton and slaves picking cotton. You see how like I'm wearing clothes right now that are made of cotton? And if we really go back, the reason that I can wear this right now is because there was some nigger in the field picking cotton, and that's just how it goes. So it's sad, but somebody has to pay. Like, somebody, you see how like I did the work and then my direct deposit is somewhere in the universe. It will eventually come to me, but like I did the work and then the money will come. The slaves did the work, but the money never came. The labor still has a cost though, and like someone has to be paid for it. That is literally what reparations is. It's sad because maybe so many kids won't be able to shop anymore. They'll have to go from Lululemon to Uniqlo like the rest of us, and it'll be really sad. Everybody won't be able to have a new iPhone Pro 14. It's unfortunate, but the descendants of slavery have to be paid money, like real money in the real world. Anyway, today's unanimous expressions of support for the reparations by the board do not mean all the recommendations will ultimately be adopted, as the body can vote to approve, reject, or change any or all of them. The final committee report is due in June. Some supervisors have said previously that the city can't afford any major reparations payments right now, given its deep deficit amid a tech industry downturn. Tanish Hollins, vice chair of the African American Reparations Advisory Committee, alluded to those comments, and several people who lined up to speak reminded the board they would be watching closely what the supervisors do next. That's true. You have to watch how they vote. If they vote against it, just vote them out of office in the next time until there's none of them left. Because there's, I mean, they can try to oppose. This year, they've been opposing this bill for 30 years. That's how many years. It's taken 30 years to get to the point where we could even get people in office who are willing to hear the bill. So if at this point they are still voting against it, every single person who votes against the bill, you should just vote them out of office. They don't deserve a job at all. They can go work at Trader Joe's. Cuz why are they in office? They clearly don't care about the future of America. Vote them out of office. I don't need to impress upon you the fact that we are setting a national president here in San Francisco, Holland said. What we are asking for and what we're demanding for is a real commitment to what we need to move things forward. The idea of paying compensation for slavery has gained traction across cities and universities. In 2020, California became the first state to form a reparations task force and is still struggling to put a price tag on what is owed. The idea has not been taken up at the federal level. In San Francisco, black residents once made up more than 13% of the city's population, but more than 50 years later, they account for less than 6% of the city's residents and 38% of its homeless population. The Fillmore district once thrived with black owned nightclubs and shops until the government redeveloped in the 1960s and forced out residents. Fewer than 50,000 black people still live in the city, and it's not clear how many would be eligible. Possible criteria include having lived in the city during certain time periods and descending from someone incarcerated for the failed war on drugs. Critics say the payouts make no sense in a state and city that never enslaved black people. Opponents generally say taxpayers who were never slave owners should not have to pay money to people who were not enslaved. Advocates say the view ignores a wealth of data and historical evidence showing that long after U.S. slavery officially ended in 1865, government policies and practices worked to imprison black people at higher rates, deny access to home and business loans, and restrict where they could work and live. Justin Hanford, a professor at Howard University School of Law, says no municipal reparations plan will have enough money to right the wrongs of slavery, but appreciates any attempt to genuinely, legitimately, authentically make things right, and that includes cash. It should definitely include cash. If you're going to try to say you're sorry, you have to speak the language that people understand, and money is that language. John Dennis, chair of the San Francisco Republican Party, does not support reparations, although he says he'd support a serious conversation on the topic. I'm not even trying to be funny, but like, this is offensive. Let's look this dude up. John Dennis, the chair of the San Francisco Republican Party, says he does not support reparations. I do not support John Dennis breathing air in life. So now we have all taken a stand. There we go. Everybody gets an opinion. There's mine. I think he should die. And he's probably close to death anyway. So, like, looks like everybody gets what they want. He doesn't consider the board's discussion of $5 million payouts to be one. Wow, that's a hella offense. He doesn't care at all. All right, John. This conversation we're having on San Francisco is completely unserious. Wow. They just threw up a number. There's no analysis, Dennis said. It seems ridiculous, and it also seems that this is one city where it could possibly pass. The board creates the 15-member reparations committee in late 2020, months after California Governor Gavin Newsom approved a statewide task force amid national turmoil after a white Minneapolis police officer killed George Floyd, a black man. The committee continues to deliberate recommendations. Get off. The committee continues to deliberate recommendations, including monetary compensation, and its report is due to the legislature on July 1st. At that point, it will be up to lawmakers to draft and pass legislation. The state panel made the controversial decision in March to limit reparations to descendants of black people who were in the country in the 19th century. Some reparations advocates say that this approach does take into account the harms that black immigrants suffer. I think it's just important in terms of black immigrants. They have legislation that they need to pass in other countries. And in order for that to happen, they actually have to have like a government that's functioning, and they don't. So maybe this is a call for other countries to have functioning governments. Under San Francisco's draft recommendation, a person would have to be at least 18 years old and have identified as black African American in public documents for at least 10 years. Eligible people must also meet two of eight other criteria, though the list may change. Those criteria include being born or migrating to San Francisco between 1940 and 1996 and living in the city for at least 13 years, being displaced from the city by urban renewal between 1954 and 1973, or the descendant of someone who was attending the city's public schools before they were fully desegregated, or being a descendant of an enslaved person. The Chicago suburb of Evanston became the first U.S. city to fund reparations. The city gave money to qualifying people for home repairs, down payments, or interest or late penalties due on property. In December, the Boston City Council approved of a reparations study task force. I think that the study task force is important for a couple of reasons. First of all, there are going to be people who oppose it, and I think it's important to hear their arguments and to like really note in history, like whoever this John dude is, like you need to know who that person is, and you want to know like what he like why he opposes reparations so hard, because those people probably are part of those white supremacist parties who have been working and winning for like centuries at like being discriminating. I don't know another thing to say. Like, I feel like this is why why we have to have like BET, right? Like why Diddy has to like buy BET, why we have to have like Blueface talking about like outside, like it's really sad, but it's also like serious. It is really sad, but it's also serious. Ugh, gosh. I don't know. Do you guys have opinions on San Francisco reparations? Comment in the comment box.